Hello, welcome to Unit 5. This is an update overview video, so version 2 of the overview video because I'm making some tweaks to this unit. So in Unit 5, we're going to be returning back to some earlier chapters, the second half of Chapter 10 and then Chapter 11, where we're looking at fine-tuning and training deep learning neural networks. Now, we've seen some larger neural networks. I think it's good to go back and see some of this stuff. So I've highlighted the sections here with the page numbers that we should be focusing on here. Now, one issue is that the textbook doesn't have a large project or something tied to this. They have some sample code here, but they don't have a code you can generally run. So what I've chosen to do is have you work on a Kegel challenge. I've looked at the current Kegel challenges and picked out one, this prostate cancer grade assessment challenge, nicknamed Panda. There's another library called Panda, but this is same name or same acronym, different thing. So this is prostate cancer project, and we'll be looking at this. And so what I've done is created a notebook, and then I've mapped the code from many of these sections into this Panda challenge notebook, so you can do and work on it for there. There are links to the notebook here. Now, there are actually three different versions of the notebook. One challenge we have with this challenge, this Kegel challenge, is the data. There's almost 400 gigabytes of data. This is compressed version of this. There are 10,000 images. They're in a format called TIFF, which is not used very commonly, and in fact the TIFF image actually encodes 3 different JPEG images inside of it, and JPEG images range inside from about 1,000 by 1,000 up to I think like 14,000 by 14,000. So huge images here, and a huge training set for this. So to kind of manage that, you have a couple options. The first option is this basic Kegel challenge is in a notebook inside Kegel, not inside Collab. So this link will take you to a Kegel challenge, and you can clone this notebook inside Kegel. Inside Kegel. It's just the Unit 5, Chapter 10 of them. And this is the one, there's a long video that walks you through this notebook and stuff like this, and inside this notebook will be some of the normal write-up questions. So here's a task 2 and a write-up question and a link to the write-up. So you have to do a normal write-up, and the questions are in here for this. Now, there's a problem with images in this data. It's hard. Some challenges working with real data sets here. So this notebook tries to load in the images, all the TIFF images, in the memory to be faster. But when I run this, and again, I got this, got this code from another notebook, which is commented in here. And so some of this code is used there. And what happens is that when I change the number of images we're using up to like 10,000, or the whole number of images in the data set here, I run out of memory and this notebook crashes. You should start maybe with testing it out with 500 images, and then try maybe 1,000 or 2,000 images. But you can't go through all the images with this notebook. But again, you should be able to just do a sample of images and answer all the questions here. Now, if you want, there's another version of the notebook here, version 2, which is also in Kegel for this. And here we are actually loading the data set and loading the images one at a time. We use this image generator similar to what we used before, where we were flowing and reading images from a directory, but because these are TIFF images, we can't just use a normal flow from directory. And again, so this is from a different Kegel notebook that's out there, which I comment in here. And so this person is setting it up and creating a custom data generator, and because it has to load in the TIFF images with a certain library, and then select which version of the TIFF images to use and resize them and stuff like that. So there's some special stuff in here. But this should be able to go through and train on the whole data set. But again, this notebook's set up the same way. There's an overview video at the top of it here that walks you through, but it actually the video will show you actually the other code. But again, 90% of the code is the same, just the image loading is differently. And again, the tasks and questions are in this notebook also. Now, if you're really more comfortable within Collab, there's a Collab version of this that I've finally got working. So there's a Collab version of this out here. And what this does, I've downloaded the TIFF images from Kegel. It took about 12 hours and it took me days to do that. And so I ran a conversion here to convert those into PNG files, and then I've just selected 1,000 of those PNG files and uploaded them into GitHub. And so this notebook again is largely the same. But again, where we're loading the images, we're loading them from GitHub rather than Kegel, because we're not in Kegel. And then we're doing a flow from directory here. We're actually doing a flow from data frame and setting it up. So the setup is a little bit different. But again, the way we create models, the questions I ask you are all the same and are in here also. So again, you can choose any of these three versions, the Collab version or either these Kegel versions. And do the basic write-up and everything. Any of these will work fine. If you want to get more involved in this Kegel challenge and stuff like that, we can talk about better solutions, and maybe some of you will be wanting to do that. So that's why I have the second version, is it's a little better solution, I think. Okay. Now, originally I had you doing a mini project, and in each of these notebooks at the end there was also a mini project question, but I've decided to not do those. So I've tried to put comments. There are no mini projects, even though there's mini project questions at the end of each one. We won't be doing those mini projects. And this is so you can work on the final project instead for the course. So we have a link to the final project for the course here, and this Sunday I want you to create a simple outline, summary of your project. So I have an outline of what your final paper should look like. Just introduction, literature review, research review, your results, and kind of conclusion here. And so I want you to get started with that and do a kind of a summary of this. So here's what I need you to do. Just give a quick overview of what kind of topic you might want to be researching, give some background on your research and what data you might be using here, and then try to find 2 sources, papers or other sources that would describe kind of what you're working on here. So this should be like about a page with, paragraph here, paragraph here, paragraph here, paragraph here, about 4, 2 sources, so not 2 citations here. So again, just to get you thinking about the final project and how that's going to work. So again, I've dropped out the mini project so that you can work on your final project. And there's links in the final project on ideas, discussions on research topics and things like that. So you might want to go here to this research topics. There's lots of this. I've tried to collect different ideas using your own data, using a Kegel challenge, different ideas. So you might want to review that. And also feel free to stop by during office hours or just text me and ask me questions, and we can brainstorm ideas for the final project. Sometimes I find that actually much easier for students is if you and I can just sit down, take 15-20 minutes to brainstorm some ideas and get you started on a final project idea for this. So and feel free to just text me, and then we can do it over the phone or in Zoom or something like that. I have lots of time in the next couple weeks for that. So okay, so that's your final project. Again, you can use discussion postings to ask questions about this. I also created a discussion area for the final project if you want to post information there. So that's the overview of this Unit 5.